On January 29, 1940, Soviet Foreign Minister Vyacheslav Molotov put an end to the puppet karaoke government of the Finnish Democratic Republic, and recognized the Raitiainen government as the legal government of Finland, informing it that the Soviet Union was willing to negotiate peace. The Finnish government received the first tentative peace conditions from the Soviet Union, through Stockholm, Sweden. On January 31, the Soviets made larger claims than they had before the war started. The demands were for Finland to cede the Karelian Isthmus, including the city of Viipuri, now the Russian town of Vyborg, and Finland's shores of Lake Ladoga. On top of this, the Hanko Peninsula was to be leased to the Soviet Union for 30 years. Finland rejected the demands and renewed pleas to Sweden, France and the United Kingdom for military support. In February 1940, Finland's Commander-in-Chief, Marshal Carl Gustaf Emil Mannerheim expressed his pessimism about the military situation, which prompted the government to start peace talks on February 29, the same day the Red Army started an attack on Viipuri. On March 6, a Finnish delegation, led by Finnish Prime Minister Risto Ryti, travelled to Moscow. During the negotiations, the Red Army broke through the Finnish defence lines around Talai and were close to surrounding Viipuri. The treaty was signed on the evening of March 12, 1940. The protocol appended to the treaty stipulated that the fighting should end at noon, Leningrad time, or 11 am, Finnish time. Finland ceded approximately half of Finnish Karelia, exceeding the amount of territory demanded by the Soviets before the war. The ceded area included Finland's industrial centre, the city of Viipuri, Kaakisami, Sortavala, Suojärvi, and the whole of Viipuri Bay, islands included. Much of this territory was still held by the Finnish army. Troops and civilians were evacuated inside the new border. 422,000 Finns, or 12% of Finland's population, had left their area. There was an area that the Soviets captured during the war that remained in Finnish hands in accordance with the treaty, Petamo. The treaty also stipulated that Finland would grant free passage for Soviet civilians through Petamo to Norway. Finland also had to cede a part of the Salon area, the Finnish part of the Rebaki Peninsula in the Barents Sea, and in the Gulf of Finland the islands of Shorsaari, Taitasaari, Levansaar, now called Moshchny Island, Punansaari, now called Mali Island, and Seiskari. Finally, the Hanko Peninsula was leased to the Soviet Union as a naval base for 30 years at an annual rent of 8 million marks. The total area of all territory ceded by Finland amounted to approximately 9% of its territory. The Soviet troops' transfer rights by railway to the Hanko base weren't granted in the peace treaty, but they were demanded on July 9, 1940, after Sweden had acknowledged the railway transit of Wehrmacht troops to occupied Norway. The Finns had to hand over any equipment and installations on the territories that were ceded to the Soviets. Finland handed over 75 locomotives, 2,000 railway cars, and a large number of cars, trucks and ships. The Inso industrial area, which was on the Finnish side of the border as drawn in the peace treaty, was also soon added to the Finnish losses of territory and equipment. The terms imposed on the Finns led them to seek support from Nazi Germany. The Winter War and the subsequent peace treaty were main factors leading to what would become the Continuation War, when hostilities resumed in June 1940. On